Thank you very much, Yoram Cohen, former head of the Israeli Security Agency. And now I'm honored and excited to introduce our next speaker for this session. And this is a gentleman who recently received the responsibility for leading the Israeli National Cybersecurity Authority, a newly formed organization in our country. Mr. Buky Carmeli, head of the National Cybersecurity Authority, part of the Israeli Prime Minister's office, as the former head of Sphera Systemic Hedge Fund, one of the largest Israeli hedge fund management groups. He is also the former head of the Ministry of Defense's Cyber and Technology Defense Authority, where I've had the privilege to meet and speak with him several times. He is also an ex-officer of the IDF Elite Technological Unit, an entrepreneur and founder with more than 30 years of experience in leading large research and development teams. Please help me by welcoming to the stage Mr. Buky Carmeli, head of the National Cybersecurity Authority, Prime Minister's Office. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Karen. What Karen didn't say, that the name Buky is just a nickname. That's not a profession. That's for the record. I'm very excited to present today the NCSA, the National Cybersecurity Authority, and I would like to present it through the question, what makes the difference between securing organizations versus defending a nation? I would like to begin with the NCSA, our mission statement. As you may probably know, on February last year, the government of Israel approved the whole process of establishing and founding the NCSA, in which the major mission is to direct and to manage all the cyber defense efforts in the Israeli civilian cyberspace, while of course following civil rights and of course securing privacy and proprietary information. These three keywords are very important. I would like to explain what do we mean when we say civilian cyberspace. The Israeli cyberspace includes processes and data and digital data that belong to Israeli corporates, companies, entities, and private people, individuals. It includes also the IDF, the agencies, police, and the defense industry, which is guided by the Ministry of Defense. We call it special entities. It includes also the critical infrastructure. My previous speaker, former head of Israeli IC, Shabak, spoke about critical infrastructure. Do we have a special law that supports how to guide and how to instruct these companies? We have in Israel, we have special companies. We don't regulate or we don't define specific sector as a critical infrastructure. We just pinpoint on companies. So we have a special law for that. But we also have important sectors, governmental affiliates, ministries, the business sector, and of course, the individuals, the men in the street, generally speaking. If you take out the spatial entities, then you get what we call the scope of the NCSA responsibility. This is the scope. It begins with the critical infrastructure companies, continues with the business, private and public sectors, and ends with the men in the street. This is, ladies and gentlemen, this is a huge space, larger and wider than every other space domain in Israel. And the next question is, what do we mean by saying defending that space? So, number one issue when you go out and try to defend the space is to define a well-defined defense model. We do have one. It starts with what we call, it's a multi-layer one. We start with the robustness layer, which means use the best of breed technology, products, experts, intelligence, everything you can do, the best you can get. Not enough. The next layer is what we call resilience, which means, in two words, be smart. don't just use technology. Use other tricks like traps, honeypots, redirection technologies, deception. Do whatever you do or whatever you can in order to mislead your attackers, your enemies. In our model, we differ between situation while an organization is under attack versus situation where organizations are not under attack. The switch from not being under attack into a situation when you are under attack is based on intelligence, sharing of information with colleagues or other countries, technological indication, etc. But once you are under attack, we have a spatial model how to deal with it. How to take organization from the attack state back into routine state, normal state. This is what we call IMM, the incident management model. We do have a work right now is in progress about what we call CMM, campaign management model, which means what happens if a certain attack goes not just into one organization, but really appears in several organizations, what if attack has more than one variation, etc. On top of it, we have what we call the concept of operation. You take all the departments in the NCSA, how you just combine that building and make it an operational entity. This is one step. The second, which is not enough, by the way, you need to do more in order to defend your country. So the next step is to develop what we call operational response capabilities. We do use dedicated as well as commercial technologies. We use experts, we use concept, and this is the first time I have the privilege to present the CERT. We built the CERT. The CERT, the Cyber Emergency Response Team, it's a well-known entity. It is located in Beersheba. We believe that by the end of this year it will be operational, and this is a good opportunity to invite everyone here to visit and see it by itself. But this is another key to define what we call operational response capabilities. Number 3 is, okay, so you have a good model how to defend your country and you have some capabilities to respond, but how you get access to the market? You need to get access. So we develop several types of access. Direct access to infrastructure companies, indirect access through sectorial regulators. We map right now critical processes, which in the end of this mapping, we find companies which are not necessarily critical, but they contribute to the critical process, so we need to guide them. We build governmental cyber defense units, and we do more in order to get access to the market. Intelligence, very important. We differ between open source intelligence, this is the blue side, and the other kinds of intelligence. So on the blue side, we develop our own production zone, which is based on web-int, industry cooperation with large companies all over the world, of course Israelis, virtual entities, and darknet access. The other kinds of intelligence, well, the authority will rely on the Israeli agencies. We distinguish between information or intelligence about attacks, penetration and infection technologies versus information about attackers. We understand that a specific attack may appear and may show up from different places regardless who is the attacker. So we make the distinction and we're focusing on attacks and technologies of attack. And of course we build what we call situation rooms and control room, in which the purpose of it is to create an aggregated picture of what's going on in the venue and take decisions. Synergy. Synergy with other agencies is very important. We welcome any synergy with all the agencies in Israel, and this is why just recently we finished the process of signing an arrangement agreements with all agencies and IDF. It is very important for us because we understand that in order to create a complete defense model, we need to work with other agencies. This is why we established what we call a defense forum, in which the authority leads it, but all other agencies take part of it. Here is one sensitive point that everyone is aware of: hiring good people in order to make it happen. So I would like to open brackets and say something from my business experience. I speak a lot of my friends from the industry as well as overseas. They all complain about the salaries and competition between the business world and the industry versus governmental salaries. So let me give you my view. First of all, don't even try to compete. No chance. No chance to compete with the high salaries, definitely not with the extreme high salary, not with the SOP, the bonuses, the fancy environment, etc. What you can do, or let me begin back. What you are not allowed to is to provide them a below minimum of salary and compensation plan. But what you can do is to provide them the average level. You can be around the average, sometimes even be above it. But we can also do is provide them challenge and attraction. And cyber and affection, the Israeli domain, is something that many, many Israeli people appreciate and are willing to join us. And there is another small word that you can use in order to attract people. They call it leadership. We hire experienced managers, people who already work for the industry or other agencies in the government. They bring experience, they bring their own charisma, they bring their own leadership in order to attract people and build a team. So my view is that I know salary in the government is not as high as in the industry, but a combination of fair conditions, the hype of cyber and leadership is the key. You may not be able to hire everyone all the time for any position, but it gives you a sort of competitive edge. Legal support. We are working right now about what we call cyber law, which in the end of the day is supposed to regulate or empower the authority to fulfill its mission. We are an authority. We are not another intelligence agency. This is very important to understand. I explained to part of my colleagues overseas that in Israel, in Hebrew, there is a big difference between using the word authority and agency. We are an authority. We are not an intelligence agency. We do what we do, or we will do what we have to do in consent and acknowledgement, not in the background. That's important. And of course, it brings to the table the dilemma, the defender's dilemma, how to find the working point between defending the industry, letting the industry work, and still following rights of people, civil rights. Number 8 is what we call collaboration, cooperation and collaboration with other countries. The virtual world is no boundaries world. Attack may begin in one country and reach its target in another one. More than that, attacks may be replicated or just distributed over global network communication. This is why we believe in collaboration with other countries. This is why we welcome every collaboration with every country that we can cooperate with. We speak about cert-to-cert, which is, in a way, it's the easiest way. And we speak about sharing of information, alerts, information about attacks, legal idea, technologies, whatever we can do in order to make us more protected, and I'm sure that we can contribute to the other side protection as well. And we are speaking as well about work groups as well. We believe in work groups as a good roundtable, as a good approach, a good platform to exchange ideas and exchange information. This is about collaboration with other countries. The last is regulation. We identified here in Israel, thank you, they're all taking care of me. We identified 4 areas where regulation really contributes to security. One is what we call security professions. We define several professions in security where we are about to regulate them and let people be certified. We identified professional services, which this is a work which is right now under progress. We would like to get into a situation where when you hire a company to make a pen test to your network, you know that you are the right people or the right company. We have a work done right now about products and technologies, And there is a background work about what we call certified providers, which relates mainly to supply chains. This is about regulation. We believe that if you go all this way, you create your own well-defined model how to defend your system, from the robustness all the way up to CMM, to a campaign management model. If you create your operational capabilities and you do all the other stuff that I just mentioned, then in the end of the day, you create what we call national defense system. So to conclude, defending a nation and securing organizations are two different challenges, two different topics. While securing organization requires you to develop the robustness, the resilience, and the incident management model, the nation security, the building blocks is much wider. The number of building blocks is much wider. Over the past 4 years, the Israeli Bureau of Cyber, led by Dr. Aviatar Metania, made many initiations in order to create these building blocks. Now, the job of the NCSA is to take responsibility and take these initiations and make or create a solid, well-established operation in order to secure the country and the cyberspace. I started my presentation by presenting the mission statement of the NCSA. With your permission, I would like to take aside this text and use a free language and say that we are here in order to make sure that every person and every business in Israel will be able to use the cyberspace with no fear. That's what we do, and that's why we do what we do. I would like to take a moment and thank you, retired Major General Professor Isaac Ben Israel, for providing me the opportunity to present the authority. I would like to thank everyone here for coming and listening to my presentation. Thank you.